Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the year 2015. I found some old footage, and we're going to look at some old games and consoles at hard-offs in the sort of northern Kyushu area about Saga, Kumamoto, Fukuoka. I don't know exactly where these places are. I can't remember, but this is just sort of a supercut of a lot of footage that I took in 2015. And we're starting out with a Famicom that has, look at those, the yellowing of the controllers. This is not really in that great of a shape. And even back then in 2015, this would have been a high price. This is going for about, let's say, $90. I mean, today it's like, what, 105 yen to the dollar. The AV Famicom has gone down in price slightly. So what you need to know is, if you're not familiar with the AV Famicom, there are two different Famicoms. There's the one that was originally released in 1983, and that only connects to TVs via like an RF tuner, or the cable slot or whatever at the back of the TV. The AV Famicom is the real one that you want to get, because that uses just the red, white, and yellow AV cables, and that's what makes it more, I think, much more difficult to find and pricier, even though it was ironically released at a much cheaper price point back in like 1990, 1989, one of those years. And here we've got a beautiful Famicom Basic Set. Wow, that's actually, I kind of wish I had bought this back in the day, because just look at, you don't have the discoloration of that keyboard. It's in really good shape, and like $40, that's a deal. Like, that's really good. That's great. Actually, I remember these are a couple of videos that I posted, I mean, back in 2015, I want to say. So it's been a long time since I've looked at this. And look at that. Wow. Hold on. Let's see. I wonder if we can get... Ooh, this is interesting. Okay, so I'm reading the label here. All right, so this is the Japanese Turbo Duo. This is the PC Engine Duo. What you also need to be aware about this is, for one, the Turbo Duo and the PC Engine Duo share the same fault, where the capacitors on these things tend to go bad, and this has been going on for years. So even back in 2015, this would have been, you're playing with the ticking time bomb here, because the capacitors will eventually just leak and corrode the connections on the motherboard to the point where you might not even be able to save it. A common issue is really either the sound giving out or it not being able to read CDs. I've bought one of these in the past, and I had a problem with my capacitors, and I could tell because the CD audio would drop out, strangely enough. So you get like sound effects from the game, but you wouldn't get the nice CD quality audio or the music in the background, and that's because of bad capacitors. This is going for $200. Is this loose? Let's see. Hold on. It has the manual. Yeah, it looks like, actually, so it doesn't have the box here. I'm trying to look. You can see on the bottom of the label, it has, it's really telling you what's up with the system and like what it comes with, what it doesn't come with. It actually looks like it doesn't come with the box, but it does, strangely enough, have the manual and the AV cables and the power cable. However, it says that the controller is not the real controller that would have come with the system. It's like a third-party controller. So $200 back then would have been steep for a Turbo Duo. Actually, today, the PC Engine Duo, if it's in this condition, even with the third-party controller, if you're in Tokyo and it's in working condition, it could be like $300. It's really crazy how this is really, it got expensive in the early 2010s, and it has stayed expensive ever since. And then this, oh my God, this is like, I cannot believe. I remember to this day going into this particular hard off, and seeing this super graphics. These get in complete in box today. This is a $400-$500 console. Back then it was $200, and even that back then was a good price. It's kind of been consistent for the last 5 years, but oh my God, I cannot believe I didn't pick this up. Well, I mean, also, $200. But what a deal on this. Like, this used to be my favorite hard off, but since it's I think the selection there's kind of slackened a little bit. And then these are actually not that different today. So we got Mario Party 2 complete in box on the right, going for $3. I think it's a little bit more expensive. I think I saw it at a Surugaya within the last year, and it was going for maybe less than 10. And then Super Mario World, you can very easily find in the provinces, as it were, for about $10. Except you'd probably pay maybe 20, 30 if you're going in Akihabara, but it's I wouldn't pay more than $20 for this today. Super Nintendo, so the Super Famicom and Famicom games have really kind of I've really kind of leveled out. And look at this. This is crazy. So this is back when, so back in 2015, the Famicom was still really much the console to collect for. The Super Famicom would come in within the next year or two. And so this hard off, like, you just do not see this ever. This is just a lineup of complete in box Super Famicoms in varying condition. You see you've got the one on the couple on the right are about $35. The ones on the left are like 40. That might be because the ones on the right don't have a controller. I'm not sure. I don't think I pulled these out. And you can also see like the label fade. Like, look at that. The one on the far left, that's bleached by the sun. And look at that one on the far left. Oh my God, you can tell that that's just been constantly blasted by either the sun or the incandescent lights of the shop. These sat in hard offs forever until, like, I want to say 2016. And I remember very clearly going back to this hard off like a year later, and it was just cleared out. There was nothing, where there were like 10 complete in box Super Famicoms before. And then, oh, actually no, I missed that. How much was that? Sorry, I got to go back a little bit. So look at that, $20 for Earthbound complete in box. That was that was a fair price back in the day. Sim Ant going for 15. We've got let's see, what is that? Parodius. There's like a couple Parodiuses that came out for the Super Famicom, I think. This is going for 15. It does not have the manual, so be aware of that. This one does also not have the manual. So here you just get the console or sorry, not the console, the cartridge and the box for $20. No, wait, this one, it apparently has the manual, but something's up with the manual, and it's $20. For Super Mario All-Stars, that's not terrible. You get what? Super Mario 1, you actually get, you get the Lost Levels 3 and Super Mario USA, Super Mario 2 abroad. And then Super Mario RPG, like, look at that. Like, what is that? $18. That's a bit pricey even today. Like, Super Mario RPG is worth about $10 complete. When you're buying the Japanese version. Here we've got Dragon Quest 3. Oh yeah, and then the Laserdiscs. So one of my favorite things about Hard Off is not only do they have video games, but they will also have, very frequently, are just bins and bins of Laserdiscs. I hope I ship this back to myself, back to America. But I remember buying the Star Wars original trilogy Laserdiscs because that's sort of the best quality of the original trilogy before the special editions came out. And I love the artwork. I thought it was great. And look at this. So this might have been the same hard off or not. But, oh, wow, I'm really jumping all over the place. No, this looks different. Okay, hold on. I want to go back a bit because I'm jumping over a lot of stuff here. This is back when I was doing a different format. But look at these loose. So we went to one hard off. They've got complete in box Super Famicoms going for 4,320 yen. And then we come to this hard off. Same price for a loose one. And this looks like the controllers look in great shape. The console itself looks like it's having a little bit of yellowing. It hasn't gone completely yellow quite yet. Today, this is not a bad deal. 5 years ago, it would have been a bit pricey. But as long as it's got everything, like $40 for Super Nintendo, like, come on. And then you've got that very blurry right here, but a complete in-box Nintendo 64 for like $35. Today, they're about $45. They're not that much more expensive unless you're an Akihabara, and then, the price has really gone through the roof. And then here, even today, this is the really flabbergasting thing about the GameCube today is that while abroad, outside of Japan, the GameCube has become really sought after, the games and the consoles, but in Japan, I can tell you for the 8 years that I lived in Japan, I saw GameCubes complete in box at the same price, and that was $35. Maybe I saw some for like $40, $45. But the silver ones also really aren't that sought after. And like, look at that. Oh, the one with the Game Boy Advance reader, that was going for $35. And the PlayStation 2 is also really shot up in price. This is going for about $70 here for the nice Grecian white PlayStation 2 for the slim one. Today, that's easily $150 if you're looking in Tokyo for it. And then we got a silver one for $80. I'm really surprised. Nobody really wants the silver ones. Then look at that beautiful pink one. That one's going for $150. Man, even back then. Yeah, the PlayStation 2 so the only way you can really play PlayStation 2 games now is either the console itself, or you have to buy the PlayStation 3, but like the first gen PlayStation 3, and those that especially the one that has the emotion chip in the system itself, not the emulation one, but the one that actually has the chip on the motherboard, those are really expensive. And then we've got PS1s going for $40. And look, okay, hold on. I don't even know what's going on here. And unfortunately, the on my old iPhone, I think I was filming this on an iPhone SE back in the day. But if you look at the top left, the one with the yellow circle, that's a loose PS1 going for 40. Then right underneath it is the same console, but complete in box, going for $30. That's crazy. That's easily like $80 today. PlayStation really took off in the last few years. And then we've got Dreamcast going for 40, that blue PlayStation 2 going for 50. And like there's not even a price difference between the fat blue PS2 and the fat black PS2. That's crazy. And we go, ooh, we get now, ooh, yeah, I remember this one. I believe this is the Saga hard off, because for years I would go to this hard off and I would see that Game Boy Light, that Astro Boy edition Game Boy Light. I want to say, no, hold on, that's Astro Boy. Oh, the Tezuka World Shop. Okay, I thought that was a Famitsu exclusive, but no, apparently it's some kind of special, a special Game Boy Light that you can only buy at one place, and it's going for $200. I love transparent electronics. Like I love the grape Game Boy Color. I think I still have it. It's that translucent purple. Here we've got just a clear translucent Game Boy Light. The Game Boy Light is already expensive enough when you can find it loose. And then those Game Boy Micros, those are like $150 today. So Game Boy Micros, they were like the last iteration of the Game Boy Advance, and they can only play Game Boy Advance games, but they've got a nice backlit screen. It's a bit too small for my old eyes, but they are the ones you want to find, and finding them here for 70 or $80, that was probably expensive back in 2015, but today, that's a steal. That's great. And I hope, because I don't know if we're actually going to see it, but if you look at the top left, you can see that Famicom Edition Game Boy Advance SP. That's like $100 now, but back in the day, it was like $40, maybe $50 if you were unlucky. Anything else there? A couple of like Game & Watch Ball that's going for $30 complete. There we go, 80. Wow, no way. No way. Even back then, this would have been expensive. And then you look at the left. Ooh, a Game Gear. That is no. What is that? No, it is a Game Gear, actually. So it comes with a Sonic cartridge, and it's going for $60. That was a really good price for the Game Gear. Game Gears, even in Japan, and I think especially in Japan, I don't know about the American ones, but the ones in Japan, the capacitors are really bad, to the point where I would be really hesitant to pick up a Game Gear outside of the junk for full price, just because you don't know what's going to happen to it. It's something that you're going to need to get it recapped at a certain point, and it's really difficult to do yourself, because even if you're decent enough at soldering, the capacitors are so small. It's really hard to fix that system. And then a complete that's the Club Nintendo Game & Watch Ball that was going for like $30. So it's not like from the 80s. It's not one of the old ones. I think it was something that was released in the 2010s. And then we have a loose copy of Super Mario RPG here, going for $9, 972 yen. And I think I reviewed this footage earlier. We then go to a complete in-box copy. And I want to say this is at the same shop. This is what happens when you shop around at Hard Off, because you saw the one that was $9. This one is $8, complete in box. I guess the only thing that's maybe going against it is that it's got this cool sticker on it. But so yeah, it's for the Famicom House. That was a chain of like used game stores in southern Japan. This is like, I love finding stuff like this, because it really I think ties you into the sort of the gaming culture back in the day. And so that's actually like a plus for me, but maybe to some collectors, you don't want to see that. And like, just look at these stacks of Wii's and PS2s. Like, you've got fat PS2s going for $50. You've got the like anywhere from $30 to $40. And this is still true. Like in Japan, I want to, like, even in my experience in the UK and America, Wii's have remained cheap. I think the price on them increased a little bit due to the health crisis, but, you know, you can still find these super cheap. And, of course, it's probably the best way that you're going to be able to play GameCube games using composite, because I don't want to pay $200 for the composite AV cables on this thing. Anyway, now we're looking at, like, just like loads of loose systems, like loose GameCubes for $30, loose Sega Saturn for 30. Although I will say, while the Sega Saturn has generally gone up in price for the console, it's probably now 50, 60 for a loose one in the Tokyo area. I remember walking into a book off in the greater Tokyo area. Actually, no, this is like in the middle of Tokyo. Like, I can't remember the place, but like we're talking urban Tokyo. I found a complete in-box white Sega Saturn for $20. So sometimes you just get lucky and you can still find deals in Tokyo. You just got to look around. I wonder how much those. Oh, let's see. F-Zero. I don't think I show the price though. Like, look at this. A mint copy of Super Mario Brothers in the box, $25. Like it's actually not that expensive now. I think I want to say in Super Potato it's anywhere from 50 to 60, but that's overpaying. You could probably find it at Trader, if you can find it at Trader, for maybe 30, 40. But you could also maybe find this for $10 sometimes. It just depends. Some places don't care what they have, other places do. But it's what a beautiful artwork. I really wish I'd bought that. And then look at that Game Boy Advance SPs for $30. Oh my god. These are like I'm like no joke, 60, 70 loose today. And I'm not even talking about 101s. I'm just talking about the 101 actually didn't come out in Japan. Here they're going for 30. That's oh my god. And it doesn't look like there's anything wrong with them. And then Neo Geo Pocket. Look at that. It's complete in box. And it's the color. And it's going for $40. Oh my god. Oh, and then beautiful. Oh, I love that red. This is a beautiful Famicom. Is it the Twin? Yeah, the Famicom Twin. So what's great about this is that you can both use cartridges and the disc in these. These are made by Sharp. It was a really weird licensing deal that Nintendo made back in the 1980s. This is also, so I guess I sort of, when I talked about the two different Famicoms, there's the regular Famicom, the AV Famicom, and then there is the Twin Famicom, which has a mono out and the yellow AV cord that comes out of it that you can plug straight into the TV. The thing is, you can find these loose for about $50, but those will generally almost always have their the disc drive won't work because the belt will have melted away with the years. But it's not that difficult to replace yourself. You can buy a replacement cable or a replacement cord for like maybe anywhere from $5 to $10. And it is a pain to try and align the disc heads on it, so it can be challenging. Or you can pay the $150 that this is going for. That's sort of stabilized. I've never seen it over $150, even at Super Potato, or maybe $200 at Super Potato. That's possible. But this is like, but I would just find it in the junk. I've seen complete in box junk consoles go for like $50, and that's the one I would get. But it's not something you see every day, I will say. And then here we go, the PC Engine Duo in the box. This is the one I bought. I remember. This is the one that burned me. So here it's going for $150. A complete in-box one of these is like $400, $500 in the Tokyo area. Even if you found it in the sticks, like the box it's a little bit beat up. That didn't matter so much to me. I remember picking this up and the capacitors worked for like the first 5 minutes, and then the audio cut out, and so I had to replace the capacitors myself. And that was cool to figure out how to solder and all the little components. But man, was it a real pain. And then it's a combined book off and hard off. And the thing is that actually at book offs in Japan, I don't know if it's so much today, but definitely back in 2015, you could find PlayStation games there, and you'll find all kinds of stuff, especially the JRPGs. And then at hard offs, you also find a lot of analog records. It's a great place. Oh, and the old Star Wars figures. Oh man, I can't wait to go back and look for some of those. I really want to get some more Star Wars figures. And then, the Gundams. Actually, I wouldn't recommend buying Gundams at hard off because so the thing is when you buy these at hard off, they will have everything in them. What will happen is someone might buy them for fun, or they might get them as a gift, and they won't open them, and they'll just sell them to hard off to make some cash. So they'll be unopened. They'll have everything that's supposed to come with them, but you can generally find them for even cheaper at places like Yodobashi Camera. So that's where I would recommend you shop for your Gundams if you're in Japan. But it's cool to see them, and then you get these airsoft guns that look like the real thing. It's crazy. Like I swear, I've been driving down the streets of middle of nowhere Japan, and I've just seen a kid waving one of these in the air, and I'm like, whoa, that's it's unbelievable. Just look at the rifles that look like the exact thing, and it's not like America where you need to have an orange tip. or like something that actually distinguishes it from a real gun, they are virtually, you can't tell the difference. And then, oh yeah, that complete Sega Saturn for $40. I saw that in Tokyo for like $20, but normally it's like $100 sometimes. It's the Sega Saturn's really gone up in price, and more $40 Super Famicoms. $35, yeah, and they're not in the greatest of shape, but let's see what's in the junk. Yeah, oh yeah. Wow, the PSX. I don't think really people even remember the PSX, but it is a PlayStation 2 and a DVR all in one. That's how crazy the early 2010s were. Let's see, but these actually, the one on the left isn't getting any power, so that makes sense why it's $10. The one on the right, I think it doesn't read discs, strangely enough. But at least it'll turn on if that's worth it to you. I would love to have one of these. It's not really that difficult to find them. They're in the junk all over the place. And then just, yeah, I remember this hard off. It had a pretty big junk section. It's got just everything you could want. And the thing about stuff in the junk section is if you're not familiar with hard off, in the junk section, it's just stuff that they've either tested and has some kind of flaw with it, like maybe there's a sound issue. The ability to repair it is really going to depend on the seriousness of the issue. Or what also goes in the junk section is overstock and stuff that they can't test because it was traded in without the cords. So a lot of those systems that you saw me going through, I'll bet you anything, more than half of them, if not 90 to 95% of them, are in perfectly working condition. They just weren't traded in with the right cords, and so they weren't seen as sellable. Some things, like if you look at the games here, sometimes they're either overstock sports games, or like in the case of Final Fantasy VI, there are so many copies of Final Fantasy VI in Japan that it's like, no, we can't put these all out on the storefront. Just put it in the overstock and price it like $5. That's how easy it is to find some of these JRPGs. Other games I can think of that you'll find in the junk for the Super Famicom, basically any of the Dragon Quests. I see Street Fighter 2 all the time. Basically any Square mass RPG, so like the Final Fantasies. Not Live Alive, because that's kind of hard to find. Mostly also sports games. Like 8 times out of 10, it's going to be sports games. But the other two games that you'll see will be actually really good. So you can go to basically any junk section, I want to say, and build up a Super Famicom collection really quickly and really cheaply. But if you look at actually the condition of the cart, it's going to depend on what you want. But you can see here, it's a little scuffed up. There's a little bit of yellowing, but the yellowing is going to happen to like most Super Famicom cartridges eventually, just because of the plastic. The scuffs you might be able to clean yourself. I've cleaned off a lot of stuff from the junk section, and it's looked perfectly fine afterwards. Anything else here? Yeah, and then like lots of boxed games, but it's all like pachinko games and sports games. And then here, yes, the junk GameCubes and Wiis. The GameCubes are probably fine. Yeah, because if you look at actually the note, you can see the note there. So you can buy a junk GameCube for 1,000 yen. The game, it will play games fine, but you're going to be on your own finding the cords and the controllers, as well as the memory cards, of course. And then also, because they're in the junk section, they get beat up a little bit. They get a little bit rough-housed. If you don't care, you can get a great deal on some of this stuff. And then even like that one on the right, it's got the Game Boy adapter with it. Like you need the DVD to get it to work properly, but you can find that fine. It's no problem. But yeah, look at all that stuff. Yeah, so we're coming to the end of the video here. Just loads of memory cards, PSP games, Game Boy games. Look at they had the tank. Oh, the red and the black DS. That's the one that I want. The big fat DS that's red and black. That's the one that I've been looking for. You find lots of DSs in the junk section as well. The thing about portable games in the junk section is that they're also going to be really roughed up. The screens will be scratched, and the battery might not work. It might have been taken out. But you can find some cool stuff here, and especially if you're just looking for like a motherboard, you can use these for parts very easily. So that's one thing to consider. If you're able to actually go to Japan and go to these hard-offs, you can find some really amazing deals in the junk section. And that wasn't only true of 2015. That is still true to this day. This is a real blast from the past. I'm I think I'd like to make some other supercuts and go back and see what game hunting was like back in, say, 2015, 2016, especially 2016. That was a crazy time because that was really the height of game collecting, I would say. Whereas now, I think things have cooled off just a little bit. Thanks for watching, and a big mahalo to all my Patreon supporters.